Some people make history, others make the obituary section hilarious. 1. The rocket car genius. Meet the man who decided gravity was optional. In Arizona, a guy strapped a jet-assisted takeoff rocket, yes, a literal military-grade missile booster, to his Chevy Impala. His logic? Why should planes have all the fun? The result was 300 miles per hour of pure Darwin Award energy. Witnesses say he vanished into the horizon like a shooting star of stupidity before embedding himself in a cliff 125 feet up. The car left a crater, a legend, and an unintentional PSA: never combine Red Bull with rocket fuel. 2. The emperor who whipped the ocean. Xerxes I, king of Persia, once lost his bridge to a storm. Instead of rebuilding it, he sued the sea. His army literally whipped the water 300 times and yelled insults at it. They even branded it with hot irons for disobedience. Somewhere, Poseidon was laughing his trident off. It's one thing to rule an empire, it's another to think you can punish weather. This was less divine right and more divine wrong. 3. The man who swam with crocodiles. 3 times in South Africa, a 27-year-old woman ignored warning signs that said, "Crocodile River, do not swim." She took a dip anyway, came out fine, and decided she was invincible. So she swam again, still fine. On her 3rd swim, nature finally said, "All right, your turn's over." She vanished without a ripple. No splashing, no screams, just one less tourist and one very satisfied reptile. Moral of the story: if the river has teeth, don't test your luck. It always bites back. 4. The fisherman and his duct tape Titanic. They say duct tape can fix anything, except stupidity. In Oregon, a man decided to take his 12-foot aluminum boat, which was already falling apart, out for a fishing trip. The problem? He had fixed every major crack with strips of duct tape, including the motor mount, the one thing that keeps the engine attached to the boat. Add to that 3 times the recommended weight, and you've got a floating coffin with an attitude. The second he stood up to cast his line, the boat flipped like a coin toss from the universe. His friend was rescued. He wasn't. The Coast Guard later said it best: duct tape is for home repairs, not maritime engineering. 5. The man who turned safety gear into a weapon. If you ever thought your dumb drunk friend was bad, meet Leo, a British tourist who got creative at a ski resort. Late one night, he and his buddies decided the padded safety barriers at the bottom of the slope would make perfect sleds. They ripped the foam off, climbed the hill, and launched themselves down with 0 steering, 0 brakes, and infinite confidence. Leo's ride was short and fatal. He crashed into the very same metal post those pads were meant to protect him from. The irony? He literally died from removing safety equipment. It's the first time in history someone lost to gravity and their own craftiness at the same time. 6. The emperor who killed his entire harem. If madness had a throne, Sultan Ibrahim of the Ottoman Empire was sitting comfortably on it. Nicknamed Ibrahim the Mad, for very good reasons, he once became convinced that one of his 280 concubines had been unfaithful. His solution? Fire the whole department. He ordered every single one, all 280 women, to be bound in sacks and thrown into the Bosporus Strait. Historians still argue whether it was paranoia, cruelty, or a full-blown mental breakdown, but one thing's clear: the guy turned his dating drama into a maritime massacre. HR departments ever since have been saying, "At least we're not that bad." 7. The electric boxer. Here's a man who literally punched himself to death. Ian, a professional electrician and amateur fitness nut, decided to install a punching bag in his home gym. Instead of using proper equipment, he hung it from a ceiling chain connected to his own wiring setup. Because who needs an electrician when you are one, right? After a night of drinks, he proudly showed it off to his cousin, took a swing, and hit the chain. Turns out it was live. He electrocuted himself instantly. His last punch wasn't to the bag, it was to himself. When investigators arrived, one officer summed it up perfectly. He fought the power, and the power won. 8. The Pope who put a corpse on trial. If you think modern politics is insane, wait till you hear about Pope Stephen VI. In 897 AD, he decided he hated his predecessor, Pope Formosus, so much that death wasn't going to stop the grudge. He had Formosus's 9-month-old corpse dug up, dressed in full papal robes, and placed on a throne to stand trial. A trembling deacon was forced to defend the corpse as the court accused it of perjury and violating church law. Unsurprisingly, the corpse lost the case. Its papal fingers were cut off and the body was tossed into the river. It's the only trial in history where the defendant couldn't object because, well, he'd already decomposed. Even in medieval Europe, this was considered a bit much. 9. The Rocket Man of Arizona. There's DIY engineering, and then there's, let's strap a rocket to my car and see what happens. A man in the Arizona desert decided to attach a JATO rocket, the kind used to help planes take off, to his Chevy Impala. His plan: set a land speed record. His execution: 1 ignition button and 0 steering strategy. When he fired it, the car instantly hit over 300 mph. It stayed on the road for maybe 3 miles before physics took over. The car went airborne, slammed into a cliff 125 feet up, and left a crater. There wasn't enough left to bury. Somewhere in NASA's archives, there's probably a memo that just says, "Civilian attempts flight. Flight wins." 10. The woman who outswam common sense. In South Africa's Elephant River, locals have a saying: if you see ripples, it's already too late. A 27-year-old tourist ignored that and went for a swim in crocodile-infested water. She came out fine, so she did it again. Still fine. Then came the 3rd swim. Her friends saw the ripples. That's it. No splash, no scream, just gone. Her body was never found. The locals weren't shocked. The river was. It had waited patiently through 2 full rehearsals. On the 3rd, nature finally called cut. Darwin would have given her a standing ovation. 11. The fisherman who put faith in duct tape. You've heard the phrase, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." This guy took it further. If it is broke, just tape it. In Oregon, a fisherman took his battered aluminum boat out to sea after patching the cracks and the motor mount with duct tape. He even brought friends along for moral support. The boat was already overloaded, and when a wave hit, he stood up. That was it. The boat flipped instantly, duct tape peeling off like wet stickers. 1 man survived. The captain didn't. The Coast Guard's final report might as well have read, "Death by Home Depot." 12. The man who fought a crocodile with his ego. Australia, land of heat, spiders, and Darwin Award candidates. One night, a guy at a Queensland party got drunk and decided to impress his friends by jumping into a crocodile enclosure at a wildlife park. His reasoning? "I wanted to show it who's boss." The croc disagreed. The man survived the first bite, climbed out bleeding, and reportedly shouted, "That's not so bad." The croc came back for round 2. This time, nature took the win. Paramedics later called it a completely avoidable incident. The zookeeper's summary was blunter: you can't out-alpha a dinosaur. 13. The diver who forgot to turn off the engine. In Australia, there was a pearl diver named Sharky. And yes, that was his real nickname, which already tells you everything you need to know. Sharky was famous for 2 things: recklessness and luck. One day, the air compressor on his diving boat jammed. Instead of asking for help, he did the macho thing. Fixed it while it was running. A splash of fuel, a spark, and boom, he blew up a $200,000 boat and somehow walked away. Everyone said he was destined for a legendary ending. They were right. Months later, he dove again to untangle a rope caught in the propeller. In his rush, he forgot one small step: to take the boat out of gear. The spinning propeller sucked in his air hose, reeling him in like a fish. The man who cheated death for years finally lost to his own engine. The ocean didn't take him, his own boat did. 14. The man who slept through his girlfriend's death. After a night of heavy drinking, a couple in Thailand decided the best place to sleep was the roof of their hotel. Romantic, right? The woman snuggled up under a blanket beside the railing. Sometime around 3 a.m., she rolled over. Right. Off the edge, she fell 4 stories to the street below while her boyfriend kept snoring peacefully on the roof. When police arrived, they found him still asleep, surrounded by pillows, completely unaware he was now single. When he woke up, he asked, "Where's breakfast?" Sometimes stupidity isn't loud. It's unconscious. 15. The woman who opened a plane door. Mid-flight, for fresh air. Imagine you're 30,000 feet in the sky, and a woman stands up, stretches, and says, "It's stuffy in here." That's what happened on a flight over China. A passenger walked to the emergency exit, calmly pulled the lever, and tried to open the door because she wanted some air. Luckily, cabin pressure kept it sealed. Otherwise, the plane would have turned into a wind tunnel. When the crew restrained her, she reportedly said, "But it's too hot." "Lady, this isn't a window. it's the void. 16. The guy who turned a selfie into a final portrait tourists and cliffs. A love story that never ends well. A man in India was visiting a scenic canyon and decided to take the perfect selfie. You know, the kind where you lean just a bit too far for a better angle. Witnesses said he was still smiling when he slipped. His phone survived, perfectly capturing his last moment. The ultimate example of dying for the gram. Somewhere in the cloud, there's a picture titled Final Upload. 17. The man who tried to save his SUV from a train. This one's a masterpiece of misplaced priorities. A man in Poland parked his luxury SUV on train tracks after it stalled. Instead of running for his life, he ran back to save the car. Witnesses said he kept shouting, "It's new!" as the train horn blared. He tried pushing it off the tracks by hand. The train didn't slow down. The SUV was obliterated. And so was he. It's poetic, in a dark way. He died protecting the very thing that depreciates the second you buy it. Somewhere, the car insurance agent just whispered, "Darwin approves." 18. The man who tried to prove he was Spider-Man Arizona, midnight, tequila, and confidence. A deadly mix. A 30-year-old man decided to climb his own house because he was born for rooftops. He announced to his friends, "Watch this, I'm Spider-Man." Spoiler, he wasn't. He made it halfway up, slipped on the gutter, and face-planted into a bush. His last words were allegedly, "Nailed it." It's the kind of optimism evolution keeps trying and failing to filter out. Somewhere, Darwin just scribbled, "Close, but no web." 19. The guy who fought a bear for his beer. In a Canadian campsite, a man woke up to find a black bear rummaging through his cooler. Most sane people would run. He grabbed a frying pan and shouted, "That's my beer, you furry thief!" The bear didn't care. He swung, missed, and instantly learned that wild animals don't respect property rights. The bear mauled him, walked away with the beer, and left him to the park rangers, who later called it a natural selection in progress. He died as he lived, belligerently protecting cheap lager. 20. The man who tested a bulletproof vest. Without one in Brazil, a security guard decided to impress his co-workers by showing off his invincible DIY vest. He put it on, invited a friend to shoot him, and said, "Don't worry, it's science." The bullet went straight through. Turns out the vest was made of kitchen tiles and duct tape. His last recorded words were, "Maybe a smaller gun?" There's a fine line between bravery and auditioning for the Darwin Awards, and he crossed it at 900 feet per second. 21. The tourist who hugged a lion. South Africa again, because apparently no one there reads the signs. A man at a wildlife park climbed over the fence to take a selfie with Simba. He tried to hug the lion. The lion responded by doing exactly what lions do: bite. The man's friends screamed and filmed, because of course they did. Authorities later said the lion had shown remarkable restraint for waiting a full 10 seconds. When they checked the man's phone, his final selfie caption read, "King of the jungle vibes." Close, but he was definitely the court jester. 22. The man who tried to smoke a gasoline cigarette. Some ideas are so bad, you can smell the ending. In Russia, a man ran out of lighter fluid while smoking. Brilliantly, he decided to pour gasoline into his Zippo. When it wouldn't light, he leaned closer to inspect it. One spark later, he became a human torch visible from 2 streets away. Witnesses said he shouted, "It works!" before collapsing. The police report literally labeled it as self-initiated combustion. It's nice when bureaucracy gets poetic. 23. The thief who robbed a tiger cage. At a zoo in Chile, a man climbed into the big cat enclosure to prove God would protect him. He stripped naked first, because apparently faith works better without pants. The tigers, being practical creatures, disagreed with the experiment. Zookeepers arrived too late to save him, but tranquilized the cats before they finished lunch. His family demanded the zoo be punished. The public demanded Darwin get another medal. The irony? The man's name was Leon. Translation: lion. Even the universe was trying to warn him. 24. The inventor who drowned in his own submarine. Meet Horace Lawson Hunley, the 19th century inventor who thought, "You know what would make war cooler? Personal submarines." He built one, proudly named it the H.L. Hunley, and decided to pilot it himself to prove it was safe. Spoiler, it wasn't. On its test dive, the vessel sank like a rock, killing Hunley and his entire crew. They found him still clutching the controls, a look of stubborn determination on his face, and zero air in his lungs. It became the first submarine to both work and kill everyone inside it. History books call him a pioneer. We call him the first man to win a race against oxygen. 25. The man who posed with a loaded cannon. In 1880s England, photography was still a luxury. So, when a traveling photographer arrived at a coastal fort, one soldier decided to immortalize his bravery. He stood in front of a massive cannon and told his buddies, "Let's make it look real." Unfortunately, the cannon crew didn't know it was loaded. When someone tripped the firing mechanism, the man didn't get his photo. He got vaporized. The cannonball reportedly landed half a mile away. The picture never developed, but the story sure did. The moral? If your selfie involves artillery, maybe skip the flash. 26. The philosopher who forgot gravity exists. In ancient Greece, a philosopher named Chrysippus loved two things, logic and wine. One day, after drinking too much of both, he saw a donkey eating his figs and joked, "Give the donkey wine too, so he can wash them down." He laughed so hard at his own joke that he literally died of laughter. His students were torn between grief and applause. Imagine being such a comedian you die mid-punchline. His legacy is proof that humor can kill, especially when you're the only one laughing. 27. The man who blew himself up to stop a mosquito bite. In Germany, a man noticed a mosquito on his arm while sitting in bed. Instead of swatting it, he grabbed an electric fly swatter and forgot he had just sprayed his room with insecticide. The second he swung, the air exploded. The blast destroyed his bedroom, blew out the windows, and sent him straight to the afterlife, mosquito-free. Emergency services found his swatter melted into his hand. The report said, accidental detonation. The mosquito remains unidentified, but probably very smug. 28. The explorer who ate himself to death on the moon. Let's end with the grand finale of cosmic stupidity. In 1977, a wannabe survival expert named Jerry took part in an isolation experiment in the Nevada desert, designed to simulate life on the moon. He bragged he could survive on anything. When supplies ran low, he tried to prove it by eating insulation foam and toothpaste. By day 3, he was hallucinating. By day 4, he was dead from internal poisoning and an ego the size of a planet. His last journal entry read, "Man was not meant to live on this world alone." Correct, Jerry, especially not when dinner is household caulk. Humanity's dumbest deaths, proof that evolution has a delete button. So, which one deserves a Darwin Award in gold? Tell me in the comments.